What really sold me on Stroud was when I started to get to know the people I'd get to work with throughout the interview process. So I remember in my, I want to say, third round of the interviews, we had to give a presentation on the results of one of the case studies we did. And we were being interviewed by a panel of Stroud employees pretending to be the client. And one of the people interviewing me just got really into character. Like, he put on an accent and built out this full persona around this hypothetical plant manager. And it was just really great to see these Stroud people having fun with the interview process, and just, yes, they were doing their job and getting to know me and seeing if I was a good fit for the role, but also just having fun and really making the best of the experience.
You don't have to know what your career is, and like, you don't need that laser focused understanding when you're coming into the info session. The info session is there to help you build that understanding, and you can try it out and see.
So our induction class really bonded over our 2 weeks of training. Very much experienced that work hard, play hard of going through all the training modules and learning the different Stroud tools, and then going out for dinner, grabbing drinks, going for hikes on the weekend, and using those experiences to build a connection with each other that we've managed to maintain really strongly throughout the past year of work. We have all kept in touch via our Snapchat group chat that we use every single day to share about miscellaneous adventures we're having on site or in our personal lives.
So if you're going back-to-back weeks on client site, you have the opportunity to go somewhere fun for the weekend in between them. And so I actually met up with two of my other members of my induction class, and we had an awesome weekend in Miami, eating great food, hanging on the beach. We stayed in an awesome Airbnb, and yeah, just had a great time.
I think you don't realize how much you've bonded, even when you leave after induction, until you realize how much you look forward to the company conferences where you get to see each other again. Or like in my case, I got to go and work on an American project with Michelle, and I was looking forward to that. So I don't think you notice.
It was great. So I was actually in Minnesota working at a granola bar manufacturer, and my first project was working on the overpack, working to reduce the overpack on the line. And overpack it's the weight above the label weight. So for example, if you have, say, a 100-gram product and you pack to 105, that's 5 grams of overpack, or 5%. And I was tasked with reducing the overpack by 90% on the line, and we actually achieved that target in 5 weeks. Hardest bit, I think the hardest bit was just working with the operators. Some of them took more work than others to teach them the methods for controlling the weights. So I'm teaching them statistics. So it's called statistical process control. So pretty much if you have weights trending upwards, you lower the weights. If you have weights trending downwards, you increase the weights. And some got it in the first try, and some, I'd have to be there 4 or 5 times, 4 or 5 shifts to really get them to do it. So, each one was different, but, just learning about them and continuing to push through, and eventually, we got the results. Typically, these teams are, 8-week engagements, and we knocked it out of the park in 5 weeks. So it was awesome to be able to achieve those great results, well under the target of 8 weeks. I think that was great.
Well, it's been a steep learning curve on quite a few different fronts. Obviously, you've got the new tools and the skills that I just had to learn to solve the really tough problems that we tackle. But there's also a lot more to it than the technical stuff. So you're immediately flying to site and you're working with a client, people of all levels of seniority. And so for me, I think my major development has been around learning how to drive change and get results effectively when people are a major factor. So that's a little bit of empathy. That's a little bit of learning how to effectively coach and facilitate, how to sort of challenge constraints and challenge mindsets without just turning people straight off to the work you're trying to do. And that people-focused, softer side of it is not something you tend to learn a lot about in an engineering degree. You work with a line manager, so whoever's on your project with you, and they help you build out a development plan. So that's an intensive plan that's always pushing you, challenging you to do something bigger and better. But you also have a coach. So as well as the professional development side of it, technically, they're helping you reflect on what do you want to get out of your career. So what do you need to do in the short term? What do you need to be looking to do in the long term to make sure that you can achieve those things? And then that's all brought together by regular reviews from all levels in the company structure to make sure, are you getting the support that you need? Are you still being challenged? Yeah, absolutely. So definitely, as I said, I developed more on the people skills, soft side of it than I thought I would, but also the foreign language stuff. So after I joined, I spent 3 weeks on an intensive German course, and now I just go out and do this job in a foreign language. So I've never been particularly good at foreign languages, and that's not something I could have imagined before I joined. There's a couple of different main things, I think. So number one is due to Stroud's size and the amount of responsibility that you're given, even as a new starter, there's nowhere to hide. So you develop faster than you thought you would think possible. And you do get fantastic training, but in my opinion, the thing that really accelerates your development is the culture of candid feedback here. So you receive direct, honest feedback on a daily basis, and you're encouraged to provide the same feedback to other people. And the result of this is a unique environment, I think, where everyone is constantly driven to improve, and they know the actions that they need to take to do so. So a really rewarding moment for me on site was we had spent quite a lot of time looking at labor efficiency, and there wasn't a huge amount of drive from within management or even on the factory floor to be more efficient, or a lot of awareness about what it meant to be efficient. And it took quite a lot of effort to create some KPIs and get them tracking those KPIs. But once we had done that, the team leaders on the factory floor, once they could see those numbers, were just driven to compete with each other, like hands off from our end. They just immediately wanted to do better and better once they could see those numbers put in front of them.
I really like just the different types of projects we can do. So between all the projects that I've been a part of, none of them have been the same. I started off doing a risk analysis for a capital project at an oil and gas company, and then went on to doing work on a food manufacturing site where I was looking at reducing waste on the line. And then after that, went off to do some network analysis where I was trying to optimize transportation between 5 different plants across the United States. So since I started here, I've worked on multiple different projects, but none of them have been the same. And it's been really exciting every time I get it put on a new one to see, oh, what do I get to work on next? Asking a lot of questions. So every time we go into a new project, there's always a huge team that is excited for you to be there and for you to help. So getting to know everyone at each of the different sites, and getting to interview and talk to everyone, it really helps kind of get your mind in the game and understanding what's going on. And so you got to get used to asking those core questions that pop up.
So one of the sites that I've been supporting has had a fair amount of COVID callouts throughout the course of the pandemic. So I've had to provide support solely remote to them. So I've been working really close with the CI manager, the continuous improvement manager at the plant, talking every day. And what we've done is led a very successful throughput team. So we actually increased the throughput on the line by 20% over an 8-week period, which has been great, especially in a time like this. A lot of food manufacturers are trying to make as much as they possibly can. So to be able to do that and provide support solely remote just shows that our Stroud principles and teachings are applicable in so many different ways. So it's awesome to see that we were able to get those results without having stepped foot on the site.